Why women don't make the money they deserve.
Life's not meant to be hard, it's meant to be lived. I'm Christian life coach April Bragg, and this is the Bragg About Life podcast, where we explore timeless truths that enable us to live, love, and lead with confidence.
So, I am so excited because I had asked this on Facebook to y'all a while back, and it was why women don't make the money they deserve. And I asked if that would be a useful topic. And as I was thinking about that and the points, I just happened to go to a Bible study that my coach was having. And I ran into another woman. And as we were talking, I said, yeah, I've got a podcast and I'm getting ready to do an episode on why women don't make the money they deserve. And she said, oh my gosh, can I talk about that too? And I'm like, oh, yes, definitely. So I am so excited because you guys are so lucky to have the chance to meet one of the sales girls.
Yeah.
Once you find out about these girls, you're going to love them. You're going to fall in love with them. You're going to follow everything that they have. If this topic is at all interesting to you, if there's a part of you that's like, I do need to make more money. I just read their book, and you guys know I talk a lot on this podcast about how much I read. And so far, it's the best book I've read this year. And I think I'm down. I've got 7 or 8 books under my belt this year so far. So here's their bio. Listen to this, y'all. The dad from Matilda gave salespeople a bad rap. Macy McNeely and Kat Schubert are on a mission to change it. They have trained over 2,000 female entrepreneurs in the art of conversations and the science of persuasion. The co-CEOs have made it their life's work to build up women who will use sales mastery to get their products and services into the hands of the people who need them. They aren't your average salespeople. They're the sales girls. So, Kat,
Yay, April. I'm so excited.
I
Let's
am
have some
too.
fun.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But seriously, let's just dive in. Tell me some reasons why you think women don't make the money they deserve. I've got my reasons picked up from my clients, and I've coached around this topic, but I want to hear specifically because this is just like your area of expertise. So
100%. You know, we were actually just coaching a company this week, and they have the most amazing mission. They want to help people control their alcohol consumption and just be the healthiest, most vibrant version of themselves. And, you know, it's wonderful. And what we asked was, why don't you think that you make the money? Or what comes to your mind when you think about your business? And the top thought in their head was, I want to help people. I just want to help people. And you would think that wanting to help people would naturally lead to more clients, more retention, more confidence, all that stuff. But what it actually ends up leading to is feeling like you can give everything away. And I think especially being so nurturing and loving and wanting to be that safe place for people, we can confuse that with, oh, well, then it's bad to charge because that hurts people. We think that charging people is painful for them. And in reality, charging people is a gift, because charging people, not only does it show you, the sales girl, hey, I believe in you enough that you can put your chips in. And then that person says, you have helped me believe in me. I'm going to put my chips in. And so there's a really beautiful value exchange that happens when you sell, when someone actually exchanges money for a service. But I think women in general, they don't think they're doing a favor. They think they're hurting somebody. They think they're taking, not. And I think that just those thought errors and those snags and people's, like, the conceptions of sales, it's holding them back from actually helping people. Because until you sell to them, you can't even help them. I know you might think you are, like giving your coaching away for free or doing all this free stuff on the internet, but we all know what it's like to save a post and to never revisit it. But when someone pays you, they pay attention, they show up, and sometimes, I don't know if you've experienced this, April, but sometimes, I would say even most of the time, when you invest in yourself, something in you changes. Like the chemistry in your brain and your heart, it's like, whoa, I'm gonna lean in just a little bit more than I ever have before. I'm gonna say this one last thing. Our coach, our business coach, oh, we share a coach. Yeah, Myron.
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
He says something so powerful. He says, I don't need your money, but you need to write that check. And I think
Yes.
if more women could have that mindset of the power of investing in themselves, then they would make the money that they want to make. They would make a bigger impact than they'd ever imagined. And that's what we want for people. We want to create sales girls who are proud to charge and to receive.
It's so good. There's that passage, that parable where it talks about the man who found a pearl of great price, and then he went and sold everything he had to buy
Mm.
that pearl. And I literally did not, I mean, conceptually, it's like I kind of, so I think I understand this. I think I understand this, but I really didn't. Not until I experienced the very first time of investing money into myself. And oh my gosh, it was so hard. Literally was. And I remember I had to get over so much to make, I think my very first investment was a $2,000 investment. But my thought was, I'm a life coach. I feel like God has shown me how to help people. And my very first investment was to learn how to help people by selling. Because if
That's
I
awesome.
couldn't, yeah, because if I couldn't overcome their objections, and I was so scared in this field, in this area, so scared to talk about it, so scared to talk about money, so scared to take somebody's money, so scared I might hurt them by taking their money, all the things that you just said. And when I'm like, no, this is this is a calling, and for me to take it seriously, I am going to invest in me, and then I am going to invest in any skills that I do not have that might prevent me from helping more people, is how I looked at it. And
So good.
ever since then, and I think this is why I'm so passionate about, the woman side of this, because we're such nurturers. I mean, like, every time that we change, every time that we invest in ourselves, we don't just help ourselves, impact our children's future, because we can't help but live out what we learn and our transformations and the ways we change. And when our children see that, it's like we're just giving them little bonuses in life ahead of time, things that
That's
we
so
didn't know we
good.
pass on. So,
That is
oh,
so true. You get to be a living, breathing example instead of just the, here's what you should do. Here's what, like you work hard, you do this, but to be the woman, the mom, the leader who sets the tone and carries themselves like with so much belief because you did the work, right? Like that, like all those times that you invested changed you. And now that, yeah, all the people who are going to walk in your footsteps, they just get to see you transformed, which is such a gift. I love it.
yeah, and it really I think, okay, this is my theory. I feel like women struggle in this area more than men. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? Selling specifically or just
Yes.
making money in
Or
general?
make
Yes,
both,
both.
selling and making money.
2,000,000% because men by also nature, right? We're kind of naturally nurturing and naturally they want to provide because of the way that society's been constructed, because of the way that I mean, it's just how the world has presented itself to like men and women. It's like and I'm all for that. I think that's great. Men feel the need to provide and everything, but for if you imagine if a woman was almost like expected to do it, then the thought would be, "Oh, this is what I do. This is who I am."
Mm,
There's an identity, and when you have an identity, your actions follow that. But the woman's identity is like care for people, love people, to all these things, and the the messaging around sales is not linked up with that yet. And that's the mission we're on is to show people, oh, no, 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 no. This is the loving thing to do. This is persuading for good. And that's why we wrote the book, Persuade for Good, so that we can link this, nurturing, loving, like, I just want you to win so bad, whether it's your child or your client or prospect or your husband, whoever, like you want it so bad for them that selling actually is the other piece to that that makes helps them step into transformation for themselves.
So good. It's so good. Okay, so that book, y'all, Persuade for Good. I'm gonna make sure that there's a link in the show notes for you guys to get it. Super cheap. I think it's like $10. And and it's a short read, but I just went through mine because I always buy Kindle versions when I can. I just went through mine and I had over 70 highlights in
Wow.
this book. And it was, let me just pull up a couple of them because they are just so good. All right. Oh my goodness. Well, they're all too long. I was like, there's one point where I just highlighted the whole page.
Hilarious.
Oh, when you talk about pursuing your God given gift, and this is why it is non negotiable to focus your growth so that you do have the capacity and strength to sit with the burdens of others.
Mm.
But when you work on changing your mindset around sales and around money to, this is like a necessary evil to
Right.
this is actually a good thing. Yeah. I just, when you were talking about being able to sit with the burdens of others, I cannot tell y'all how many times the only reason that I've been able to help a client, I'm thinking specifically about one where she came to me and she was exhausted and she could hardly get herself out of bed. And she just felt like she was failing at life on so many fronts. And what it came down to, she was trying so hard to be something that she wasn't because she was too afraid. She didn't think that she was capable of doing the thing that the desire that God had put in her heart, which was to be a labor and delivery nurse. And because, like what you said, of being able to sit and have a conversation around money and not make it mean that I was stealing from her or taking advantage of her or doing her some harm, she invested in coaching. She uncovered this great desire to be a nurse. 4 years later, she is almost ready to graduate from college, having gone back to school when she was 40.
Wow.
So amazing. Almost ready to graduate. And it's changed her whole family's trajectory just because she had that belief. But the only way I knew I could build the belief in her, but I had to get over my own discomfort around topics like money. And money is yucky. Like money was the most important thing for this woman. If I would have gone in my old trail of thought, most important thing is for her to be able to keep the money that she has. And it's like, no, the most important thing is for her to live out her calling with confidence. And that's what I feel like God has put me on earth to do for other women. And therefore, the skill that I lack to be able to accomplish my calling is this being able to sell, being able to persuade. Just the title. If you guys just get the title, it's so worth it. To persuade for good. That's what sales is. Persuading for
Oh my
good.
gosh. It's so good. That is so beautiful. And it blows my mind how we have fooled ourselves into thinking and hiding behind things like content in the Instagram posts and maybe even a podcast. Like, oh, I'm going to do my best work and help people that way. But any type of content is the means to someone really leaning in because that woman's transformation was on the other side of a transaction. It
Yes.
was. She was all in, you were all in. It was actually a very pure exchange of this is my service for your desire, your problem solved. Let's go. We're a team now, right? Whereas,
Yes.
just absorbing content is not, I don't know why I keep saying that. I just think that women specifically are like, oh, I'm going to give, I'm going to give, I'm going to give. And that's just not always how it is.
All right. So I know you and Macy work mostly with female entrepreneurs.
Correct. Yep.
How would you say, what is the importance of sales skills for a woman, maybe in her career, who is not a female entrepreneur?
Oh, that's a great question. You know, one of our core beliefs is that sales skills are life skills. And that as long as, and what's so interesting about entrepreneurs is they have created something, they represent their brand, and so they can very easily make things about their offer, right?
Mm,
Their product. But what's really cool about career women whether they be a nurse or an executive or a teacher, like anything at all. We've worked with just almost every industry, is they're almost like more detached from the quote sale, and they really connect with people faster because it's a people business, not a product business.
Mm,
All sales, period. So when someone's in their career and they can take sales skills, be a sales girl, and connect with their management team. Or they can talk to their boss about a promotion, or they can confront someone that they're having a challenge with in the sales girl way, in the persuade for good way. We actually find that they have incredible success. And I'll tell you the story. So in 2020, right as everything was happening, we were working with a woman who worked for Corksicle, the drink, the
mhm.
cup, kind of like Stanley, Corksicle. And it's actually a smaller company than some would think, but she was not the top of her company or anything, but she became a sales girl a few months before. And we told her, like, hey, stop thinking about your promotion. Start thinking about the value you bring to the team, the way you communicate, all these things. And when COVID happened, like, 2 of her bosses were fired and she got promoted
Oh my gosh.
because people saw her as a leader, someone who was stable, someone who did bring value and push the company forward in the best way. And so I love a career woman who can persuade for good. Absolutely. Because not only do those people make the company lighter and more efficient and more productive, but they also make them more money because
Absolutely.
they have the skill to sell the product, sell the team, motivate the sales team. It's all one skill. It's amazing. Does that answer your question?
It really, really does because I just love how you keep on coming back to sales skills or life skills. And I mean, that is what I had to adopt to even play in this area at all. I mean, I just, if you looked at me 20 years ago, I never would have imagined that I would be in business. The way I saw myself is I am the perfect right hand gal to a strong man who has big dreams and needs help implementing them. And what I learned is that, well, number one, I have great ideas too. Number two, sometimes those ideas clash with that man's ideas. And number three is that to be able to have a great idea and sell somebody else on it, that is the same thing as selling. Selling
Oh,
a product and
100.
making money, selling for the better good. So, talking about sales skills. Because I think a lot of times we have some of these skills and we're just not connecting the dots. I mean, you know,
Oh, 100. That is very true. I would love to
yeah.
hear more thoughts. What
Yeah,
else
well,
do you
we're
yeah,
talking our kids into doing things and we don't realize that we have an ability to, yeah, or other people or sell them on a vacation. I remember when met my husband in college and oh my gosh, I just thought he was the cutest thing in the world. But the way I told my kids it happened was I chased him until he caught me.
oh,
Like
funny.
I just made myself available to be noticed and paid attention to, those things. But I didn't catch him. He caught me. I just had to make myself available. And I think, this is and I'd love to hear your thoughts about maybe that balance of, like a lot of people think, well, sales is like me just showing up on social media and posting encouraging things. And then people will eventually, if they need something, then they'll contact me.
Oh,
What do
oh,
you say to that? Because that
oh my
doesn't
gosh.
work.
What I have to say to that is if you are not persuading, you are waiting.
Oh gosh, that's so good. That's so good.
That is another thing. Women, I've heard something recently about like feminine energy. I'm not like super like I don't know a whole lot about like energy stuff, but that women want to receive, right? Like we want people to come to us. Like we want, the man to come to us, pursue us. And so in sales, it's like, well, I don't want to pursue them. I want to be like hard to get. I want to be like, you know, mysterious and stuff. And there is a way to bring that into selling. Absolutely. It's give and take, right? You don't want to be needy and like
Yeah,
pushy at all, but you do want to pursue and you want to pursue just the idea that so like even a call to action, right? Like DM me or Like, let me know your thoughts on this idea. Because what if it started a conversation that led into them being your client? You'll never know if you're just letting the plane fly in the air and never landing the plane with somebody.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
one of the meanings of persuasion, when you break down the word, is to advise through to completion, through to completion.
Mm.
So we're not just sharing, we're not just being nice and generous. We're doing those things and bringing it through to completion. And no matter how long that takes, that's the key. Persuasion is a process, not a pitch. And so this is
Mm.
not a one time, this one time chance and I'm going to shoot my shot. Like, sure, do that depending on the circumstance. But in general, you said selling ideas, and I cannot encourage someone enough to picture sales and persuasion like an arc, like the Sydney Harbor Bridge, and every step on the Sydney Harbor Bridge that gets you up and then goes back down, that is the sales process. You get thought by thought, perspective by perspective, objection by objection. You just ease them up. And when they hear what they need to hear, when they believe what they need to believe, you've ingrained it into them with emotion and logic and all these things. They're like, oh, not only are they ready to buy, but they're ready to believe in the transformation.
Yeah.
Because that woman who bought from you, who became a nurse, that took way more than swiping her card. That was the easy part. I know not everyone thinks that, but trust me, swiping the card is the easy part. Getting them to execute on your protocols and the work. It takes work to change your mind with
Yeah.
a life coach. Are you kidding me? Doing thought downloads and finding thought errors and looking your emotions in the face and being embarrassed, but like that's work. And so someone has to be bought into doing that. So persuasion is a process to getting them believing. So they're the not just clients, but the most amazing clients you could ever have.
Oh, it's so good. And I also think, like, people get beat up on themselves all the time over procrastination.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm procrastinating on this and this, and they almost take on procrastination as an identity, whereas I just think, no, procrastination is what you naturally do when you're confused, you lack clarity, you lack
Mm-hmm.
confidence, or just not really sold on what's going to be on the other side of that action. You just, it might be you don't believe it's going to happen or it's not doing any good anyway. And so to me, anytime I see procrastination, either, like in a sales call, like somebody's like pulling back, like, oh, they're like, oh, I just need to think about it, or I'm not good at taking action. This is literally like, to me, it's a light bulb for no, no, no. There needs to be more persuasion going on. Like, there's something
That's
there
a
that can be pulled out.
that's a really good point. I've actually never I don't think I've ever heard someone connect those two things, but you're
Mm.
absolutely right. The question is exactly that. What are you like, who told you that? Like who like what's in your brain that is telling the story that you either can't do that, shouldn't do that, it's not gonna work out. Let's uncover it. That's what a sales girl does is she sees somebody in their current circumstance and also believes in where they can go,
Yes.
and they're not afraid to uncover it. They're not afraid to uncover some of that ugly stuff that we just deal with, right? Like, "Hey, tell me more about tell me more. What do you mean by you can't follow through? What do you mean by you're scared?" Right? We make these assumptions about people, but what if you just uncovered it and you weren't
I
afraid that they said, "Well, like, I don't know if coaches work." Like, what if you weren't afraid of that? You could be steady and sure, a safe place for them, right? Carry that burden with them and it not take you down. So then you absolutely can have that leverage to take that blow of whatever they have to say and then redirect their mind where it needs to go.
Again, I'm just gonna reiterate, sales skills are life skills. And this is why I wanted to have you on, because I'm pretty sure that you guys have a very systematic way of pointing out the things to overcome the most quickly to get the fastest results. It's such a fascinating about, oh, you said in the book, we're dealing with, the laws of God and the laws of nature. And I forget what that third thing was. You remember what you said on that?
Yeah, there's like
Mind.
human nature, laws of nature, and God, like the three things that never change.
Yes, that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right. The laws of nature, human nature, and God. Those three things never change. And when you start studying sales, and thinking of sales as a life skill, you realize, oh my goodness, it just works, you know, because here's the option. I think if we can't persuade somebody for good, then we're only left with the option of people not getting what they want, us and them, or regrettably, the option of force, and that's,
Right.
like I fell into that trap a lot when my kids were younger. It's kind of easy, just force the 2 to 4 year old to do what you want them to do.
Right.
Yes. But that's not a great skill when they become teenagers. It's
Right.
you want to be able to persuade them for their own good.
Right.
And the same thing with your clients and the same thing with your boss. I remember one of the best things that I ever did was advocated for my own raise. But
Mhm.
to do that, I had to like really not think about, why would I want the money, but why would it be worth my boss's time to pay me a number that he would never have imagined that I would ask for.
And
And
that's the question to ask.
yeah,
What is in it for him?
yeah,
What is in it for him? That is like the crux of sales. And
yep,
so you're saying like a 4-year-old might not totally be picking up on like what's in their best interest or whatever, but a teenager, for you to sell them on not going to the bonfire without saying, if you do that, you're this and that, and you're this and that. What if you actually gave them what they wanted, which is maybe some sort of one off from like reputation or status, right? Because they want to go to be cool. So how can we help them feel cool and not
yeah,
go? Same with
yeah,
your boss. How can you help him or her make money and pay you more money? Like that's the
yeah,
whole point, right? Like you're going to get more out if you just put a little bit more in here.
yes,
You can look at me like a slot machine, that works really well. So that's exactly right.
yeah.
So right.
Oh, it's just so good. Listen, women don't make the money they deserve either because they feel bad about money in general. I mean, like don't even want to talk about it, or they just haven't taken the time to learn the skills that it takes. And they're just skills. They're just
No,
skills. Yeah.
100%. And it occurred to me after you said something really brilliant that when people are afraid to ask for money or they think they're taking money and like you can't serve God in the bank, that line in scripture, it's interesting how the people who are the most scared to ask for money or for the sale are also the ones who have the most hang-ups in their mind about money in general. So, like, they're so attached to it, like, holding on to their money that they can't even ask for it. But if you
Mm,
look at yourself like this free-flowing stream, it comes in, it goes out, it comes in, it goes out. Your hands are open, you realize it's not yours anyway. It's like it's so that you can invest in yourself. It's so that you can, be generous. It's so that you can give your family the life that they want. It's like in and then out. It's not about like, the attachment or hoarding of it, right? It's not about
oh,
serving
yeah.
money, it's about it being a part of the flow of your life, just like blood is part of the flow of your heartbeat, right?
Yeah.
Like, you
Oh,
can get
yeah.
a blood bank, and your heart pumps blood through your body, and anyone can go to the blood bank and get the right kind of blood exchange. It's the same with money. There's a bank of money. Your $100 could be my 520s the next day.
Mhm.
Right? And salespeople, sales girls, we pump money through the economy in that healthy way that just is free flowing and healthy. That's a really strong belief that and just truth, you can't deny that, right? That
Oh, yeah.
that is just how it works. So what if you embraced it and you knew that it was a good thing and you learned
Oh,
the
yeah.
skills to do it? So I'm excited for everyone. I hope that this encouraged at least one person.
I hope so too. Yeah, the way I look at it is that, listen, we have so much time, we have so much energy, we have so much money. And these are just like little assets that we have that we can then exchange for other assets that we would like, so they're little investments. So, sometimes you can spend money to save time. Sometimes, if you have no money, you can spend a lot of your time to learn how to make money. And then, if you have limited energy, then you can spend money or time, they just all play together. The goal is not to, like you said, the money's not there to hang on to the money. The money is there just because it's just a useful tool to exchange for the other things that we want in life. Like I heard somebody say, when you really, really get down to the base of everything, the answer to all of our problems is either love or money.
Mm.
As in, unconditional love solves so much. And money solves the things that unconditional love cannot, like actually putting food in somebody's mouth, putting a roof over their head, And and money cannot solve a love problem. Love can't really solve a money problem. Well, they can work together a little bit. But I guess at the end of the day, money is just one little thing that you can trade besides your energy, your time, your attention, to fulfill God's calling for your life, to help other people. Like you said, that example of the company that helps people who are over drinking, did you say?
They want control over their alcohol. Yep.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just that is a wonderful mission.
Mhm.
And to be able to sell that and sell it without being shy about it, without feeling guilty or nervous or all those things, but just
100%.
confidently, like
100%.
this is just listen, you all, when it boils down to it, I'm going to say it one more time. Sales skills are life skills. And it's all about mastering, understanding like who God really is and the laws of human nature and the laws of nature. I mean, you should read the book. If nothing else, after you listen to this podcast, you should read the book just to have your mind rethinking about some things that maybe you've never thought of before. I've spent, I don't know, 4 or 5 years specifically working in this. This is why I hired Myron specifically, was because I'm like, I know that I needed to work my mind even stronger in this area so that I could help other people, other women. Because I've got 2 clients right now that are working on their confidence because they know they are making less money than they should. And they know that it was a confidence thing. And so, but there's 2 parts to this. It's not just the confidence, it's also the skills. So, you always want to keep that in mind. And if you are a person that knows you do need to build up the skills, you guys run a challenge, don't you?
We do. We do. It's called the
Okay.
Sell Your Offer Challenge. So if someone wanted to look into that, they could go to sellyourofferchallenge.com
Okay.
and look into that, and we could work together in that capacity because we coach people who sign up for a whole week
Mm,
on their, whether it's thoughts or sometimes even strategy. And it's great to help so many people.
yeah. I'll make sure that that link is in the notes too, you guys, so that you can find
Perfect.
that. So any final thoughts, Kat, before we let these women go?
I'm so encouraged and I'm so excited for the future of women in business, in their homes, who know that their communication can change lives.
Yeah.
And persuasion is a good thing when you have the heart and the intent of making lives better. You're unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable.
Yes. Yes. When you truly believe that you are here for a reason, you're confident who you are, whose you are, your relationship with God and why you're still here, then it really just becomes a matter of picking up life skills like sales to further amplify the amount of good that you can do in the world. So,
2,000,000%, April.
yeah.
Well said. So
All
thank you
right.
for having me.
Oh, it has been so much fun. I've wanted to just keep on talking forever and ever and ever, but
I would like to say I'll be back.
oh,
The
yeah.
Salesgirls will be back.
Ooh, yes, definitely. Definitely. All right, y'all. I'm going to end this and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Brag About Life. If you're interested in more, come check out aprilbragg.com. That's aprilbragg.com. See you next week.